You are listening to the 90 Days Later podcast with Anna Charles, episode 199. Welcome to the 90 Days Later podcast, where we talk about what really happens when you take a break from drinking. And it turns out to be the best thing you've ever done. I'm Anna, coach to high achievers who are done waking up with regret and ready to feel in control around alcohol. If you've ever wondered what your life could look like with less wine and more you, you're in the right place. Hello everybody and welcome back to the podcast. All right, I want you to picture this scene. It is 4 p.m. The day's tasks are done. The house is quiet. And the evening stretches out in front of you. Instead of it feeling spacious and luxurious, it feels heavy. You glance at the clock and think, how on earth am I going to fill all these hours before bed? And almost automatically the thought appears, well, maybe I'll open a bottle. That'll make this feel a bit easier or at least a bit more entertaining. Now listen, I hear this so often from my clients. This was me as well for so many years. And I hear it from my clients, especially those who are empty nesters or those who are maybe easing into retirement, right? For decades, your life may have been defined by structure, by school runs, by busy careers, by hectic family calendars. And then all of a sudden, whoops, there is breathing room. And while you might have dreamed of this moment for years, especially when the children were young, in practice, it can feel lonely, it can feel empty or even aimless. The glass of wine becomes a way to fill the space. And even as you do this, you know this isn't truly what you want to be doing. You have all these thoughts about what you should be doing with that space. So let's talk about why this happens. And I really, before I get into the meat and veg here, I want to tell you how common and normal this is. This is a refrain that I hear day in, day out from my clients. And like I said, I lived this one for years. Now, here's the deal. Your brain doesn't actually like boredom. We are wired as humans to seek stimulation, to seek novelty and entertainment. Now, for generations, that might have meant sitting around a fire telling stories, maybe gathering with friends or getting lost in a hobby. I mean, we joke in our family. We like to watch the Jeeves and Wooster videos and stories, and we joke about the evenings we'd spend where somebody would get up and tinkle a tune on the piano and someone would sing a song. I mean, that was entertainment, right? In the evenings, it wasn't TV and videos and Netflix and gaming and all those other things, right? So today our world is set up so that we have this all on tap, right? We never have to feel bored. There is endless scrolling, there is streaming, and yes, there is pouring a drink. So when a quiet evening shows up, your brain may interpret boredom as a problem, especially if you have got into the habit of drinking when you feel bored. It says something like, do something about this now, Anna, come on, get with the program. And alcohol really looks like an easy fix. It is fast, it is familiar, it's right there. It's right there in the fridge, right? Or it's right there on the counter. It's also socially normal. Yeah, of course, that's what we do. And in the short term, it works. I will not dispute that. It definitely works. We feel that boredom's improved by this. I certainly used to feel it myself, right? You get that dopamine hit, and it's not so little actually. You get a sizable dopamine hit, and then the stretch of hours feels less stark. I also work with many people who drink a bottle, and they say because when the bottle's done, that's the evening done. That's the entertainment done, right? Because then to open another bottle is the effort they don't want to put in. So I really would offer that too. This is normal. But when we are using alcohol in this way, there is a catch, and here it is. The more you use wine and beer and so on to ease boredom, the more your brain adapts. That one glass doesn't hit like it used to, so you pour another. Over time, you just don't get bored. What happens is you get restless, you get dissatisfied, anxious at the thought of a quiet night, and you start believing the thought, without a drink, there's nothing to look forward to. Now, let's be real. Sometimes the boredom pour feels a bit harmless, right? It's just a glass of wine to pass the time, right? But the long-term cost is bigger than we realize, and it sneaks up on us. First, it steals your resilience. Instead of building tolerance for downtime, it lowers it. That means you get bored faster, and the cravings for alcohol show up more often, more quickly, and more urgent. So that's the downside. Another one, it narrows your life. The evenings kind of blur into a repetitive loop. You pour a glass, watch TV, scroll on your phone, go to bed, repeat. Right? Pour a glass, watch TV, scroll on your phone, go to bed. And deep down you might be asking yourself, is this all there is? The third negative from doing this, it masks possibility. In fact, it completely hides possibility. Every time you pour a drink to fill the gap, to solve, quote unquote, your boredom, you're going to miss the chance to rediscover what else could light you up. Sure, life might be different now, but that doesn't mean that's kind of the end. There are different things out there, different things you want to be doing. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to reframe it. I really want you to reframe what boredom really is. Boredom is not proof that something is wrong. It's just information. If we're feeling bored, it's information. It's a compass. It's your brain saying, right, what I'm doing right now isn't satisfying enough. Let's look for something that we prefer. Now, the subtext here is that we have been socialized to believe that boredom is bad. Right? That the goal is to avoid it at all costs. In fact, all the companies that make billions upon billions upon billions in streaming and mobile phone apps and drink and all the rest of it, right? They make so much money from telling us they have a solution to our boredom. In fact, there's an advert running at the moment that talks about family and all the things that they're going to do, all the things they're going to stream. And it's like, my goodness, no downtime at all, right? What they're trying to do is avoid the downtime. But boredom is actually a brilliant emotion when you learn to listen to it. Some of the most creative breakthroughs, insights, and new directions in life are born from giving your mind space to wander. And I know that is true for me. And I bet if you ask yourself, you'll find it true for you. So here is some homework, some practical experiments that you could do. You know how much I love my homework. Try this the next time the boredom pour calls your name. First, I want you to normalize it. I want you to say out loud, this is boredom and nothing has gone wrong. I'm just feeling a bit bored right now. I don't always feel bored. Something along those lines. Removing the judgment makes the urge to fix it feel less urgent, right? If there's nothing to see here, this is just a bit of boredom, right? That feels very different. Secondly, we could give boredom a job. Yeah, about that. You could ask yourself, what do I actually want more of right now? I mean, truly, what do I want? Is it connection? Do I want to spend more time with people? Is it novelty? Do I want something new? Maybe it's a bit of rest. Let boredom point you towards what you're looking for, right? It gives you a path forward. Switch from consuming to creating. This is a huge one, right? Consuming looks like pouring wine, scrolling on your phone, flipping channels, eating crisps or chips if you're in America. Creating looks like trying a new recipe, starting a project, journaling, doing a jigsaw, reaching out to someone, chatting to a friend. One is going to numb you. The other is going to energize you. They are very different. And if you think this feels like just way too much, just try a little thing to start with by taking a 2-minute test, right? So you could try one of these things for 2 minutes just to get yourself started, or give yourself a 2-minute pause instead of pouring the wine. I mean, just literally set a timer for 2 minutes and sit with the feeling. Sit with the boredom. You may be surprised how quickly the intensity passes once you've given it a little space. You could also play with awe, right? Like to step outside, look at the sky, notice something small and beautiful. Boredom is going to shrink your perspective, right? It's focus. It's going to put the blinkers on into what you haven't got, what you need right now to feel better. If you open your mind up to awe and expansiveness, you're just going to feel more. Now, look, none of these approaches I've suggested here require you to overhaul your life overnight. They are simply ways to experiment. And each time you do, you're going to be teaching your brain, look, I don't need alcohol to make this time meaningful. I can handle boredom, and I can even use it to my advantage. And who knows, in doing this, maybe you will find a new way to spend your time in a creative way. Here's what I want you to take away. Boredom is not a sign that your life is over. It's not proof that your best days are behind you. It is an invitation to create something new. Your time and your energy are precious resources. And when you stop pouring them into a glass out of habit, you can start pouring them into something far more satisfying, whatever and however that looks for you. So the next time you catch yourself staring at the clock, tempted by the boredom pour, I want you to pause and ask yourself, what is this boredom trying to tell me? What else could I create in this moment? That single question, or those two questions, can open a door you didn't even realize was there. And if you'd like support creating evenings that feel easier, richer, and more enjoyable without relying on a drink, let's talk. Just book a free discovery call through the link in the show notes, and I'll give you a simple plan to get started in creating that kind of life. And before I go, let me ask, are you signed up yet for the Freedom Lab? You don't want to miss this. It's not the common or garden sober October, same old, where you grit your teeth and try to be good for 31 days. I'm launching and running the Freedom Lab, where we're going to experiment. We're going to get curiouser than Curious George. We're going to build a new foundation so that when November comes, you are standing on firm ground. You can click the link in the show notes to get your spot. All right, my friends, that's it for today. Remember that boredom isn't the enemy. It's a compass. Follow it, and it will lead you somewhere far better than a glass of wine ever could. I'll see you next week. If this episode hit home and you're ready to explore what life could look like with alcohol in the backseat, let's talk. I work with people one-on-one who are ready to create the relationship with alcohol that works for them, so they feel powerful in their choices and at peace with their habits. Go to 90dayslater.co and click on book a call, or grab one of the free guides in the show notes to this episode. And if this podcast is helping you, a rating or review goes a long way to help others find this work too.